Higher
I'm not
body
trying
fat.
to I'm not trying to fat shame here. Don't be a pussy, man. Just
Yeah.
well, I'm not gonna plug my coaching service here. Well, fuck you.
Magmura ka ulit.
Joke lang. Okay, what's up, sirs? Welcome back to the Quadcast. This is the second episode. Today we're just gonna do a simple Q&A. So we have around five or six questions. We've also got Mr. Vaughn over here, somewhere there. No, say hi, dude. He's editing the stuff. If he has any follow-up questions, he'll just ask. Oh, and before we get to the questions, I'm sorry. We'll be linking in the description the link to the Q&As. So if you guys would like to ask a question, this would be a great way to ask with all of the context. Basically, just more than the word count of your Instagram Q&As. So for the first question, we have something from this guy named Von Campos Pogi. Hindi ko kilala yan. Basta si Mr. Von Campos Pogi. So if you guys see the guy, sapakin nyo please. So the question is my thoughts or ideas on how we can improve yung audience sa local fitness scene. So I think we can go about this multiple ways. The first of which, I think, addressing acknowledging what the audience likes. So what we've noticed here, I think, locally is that most of the audience would prefer something clickbaity, something that says like, this is the only way to do something, or these are things that we must avoid. Please never do this, or the best way to lose fat, something like that. So I don't know, as creators, I think we have to acknowledge this. We can't just ignore it altogether because obviously they're not gonna look at your stuff. But we can also try to be more informative with these things when we show our content, whether that's through like YouTube or through Instagram. I think we should try our best not to say the same message that there's only one way to do things. Again, fitness, there are plenty of gray areas there. Hindi siya ganun ka simple na talagang just one way can never be the best way. Like there's so much context involved. Okay, so Mr. Von Campos Pogi, did that answer your question?
Yes. So siguro, yun nga, kailangan natin siya i-acknowledge, tama. But, yan, kailangan natin siya ng twist ng mga...
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is, diba? Like, talaga, like, there's not much else we can do for now. But I guess, just to add, we really have to try to be, in my opinion, I mean, I know some people don't like operate this way or like think this way, but I think we need to up the intelligence game.
Yeah.
Because if you compare us to a lot of fitness influencers, content producers in other countries, there's a lot of scientific content, evidence-based, or at the very least, there's a lot of critical thinking involved, whether that's through one's own experience or through the experience of their clients.
Reflection din siya kasi ng parang situation
Yeah.
sa Pilipinas, diba?
I don't know. It's not something that can change overnight or can change based on like just one person on YouTube, no. But
medyo frustrating kasi
videos. Yeah, it's a bit frustrating. I mean, I'm personally not willing to sell myself out for, well, at most. At most. Sorry. We did fried chicken sandwiches. Oh, we're gonna plug that. I think by the time we post this, nakapost na yun kay Von.
Yeah.
We just did a chicken sandwich tasting video. There's that, and then I'm also, I don't know, sometimes I'll throw in some clickbait titles, but I mean the content in
That's
itself.
the game kasi, di ba?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess, as long as you're providing real
Hindi lang
content.
basta
Yeah, hindi yung bullshit na
samples.
I don't want to make enemies anymore, man. We ain't trying to fight. Okay. Sige. So again, the good thing about these Q&As on this form is that we can provide a lot of context. So the questions do get a little bit long. So I'll try to summarize the questions here. So the second question is from Ethan. Basically, he's a 19-year-old architecture student. He's a freshman. Well, choosing his course was hard for him because he didn't know which passion he had at the time. So he applied for architecture half-heartedly, and yeah, basically he didn't have much time to think about what he wanted. He just didn't want to waste time, so he chose that degree. So he's asking me if getting into fitness and bodybuilding as a career, or what I think about it, because that's also what I've been through. So yeah, that's pretty much it. What would I do in his shoes? Well, for one, context is different for everyone. For me, I took up architecture sort of for the same reason. Like, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But now that, a few years into architecture, I kind of figured out, like, shit, man. I mean, it's okay. Like, I can do okay here, but at the same time, I just felt like I wasn't passionate about it. Part of that is also because I found fitness, I think it was already around my second year of college. I wasn't competing yet. I believe I competed. My first competition was in 2017. So that would have been sometime third year? Third year, yeah. So I wasn't really like all in on fitness until, well, maybe fourth or fifth year. But at that point for me, medyo too late na. Or so I thought. It was a bit too late for me to shift at the time, thinking na parang, okay, I have thesis, and then we're good. But, just recently, okay, I'm not even gonna, damn it, I wasn't supposed to tell anyone this yet. But yeah, so right now I'm considering studying elsewhere, specifically for sports and exercise science. So, yeah.
Siguro,
so yeah, yun lang, like that again, it is what it is, man. Like, for me,
that's something na kailangan niyo i-figure out.
Yeah, you can't, it's hard to ask me about this because like we might have like a different level of passion for fitness, or like different basically how we perceive fitness, how we perceive our future within fitness. But for me kasi, at least in my fourth and fifth year, when I really got into it, the reason that I kind of went all in on fitness is because personally, I think I have more to do here. I have more to, well, it sounds pretty like, like I'm not up there, but I want to improve the fitness industry, at least locally, diba? And for me, I don't think I could have done the same in architecture, just because I'm not passionate in it at all. I want my sleep. Legit, yeah. So I want my sleep. I also enjoy the fact that right now, owning Iron Supply, like gym equipment, the gym, being able to online coach, well, for both like Gen Pop and prep clients, and also being able to just recently become like a personal trainer. I enjoy how much time I have on my hands, or at least time that's being spent doing something, well, I like to do. So yeah, I mean, if you really like fitness, if you're really into it, I guess it's a good choice. But you know, if you want something more stable in the long run, because I think that's my problem. Not sure where I'll be in the next 5, maybe in the next 10 years. Hopefully, it's still fitness related. But I mean, if your doubts lie in, again, in your future, in how stable you'll be within the industry, then I would probably recommend maybe staying in architecture. Maybe.
Can I add dun sa...
Yeah.
Siguro yung parang feel ko same kami situation but hindi, alam mo, hindi ako study.
Go over here.
Hindi, okay lang bro. Quick lang.
You sure?
Quick lang.
Sure?
Yeah.
Alright.
Quick lang.
Sabi mo.
Parang siguro siguro try niyo muna like humanap ng side hustle.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea.
Until na ma-match na yung kung parang sa tingin niya enough na to transition.
Yeah, that's actually a very... Yeah, I didn't think of that. Great job, Mr. Von Campos Pogi.
Yeah. Huwag niyo kasi
No, because again, it took me about 2 years of working as an online coach before I actually realized na parang mas ata ako dito, mas kaya ko mag-invest ng sarili ko as opposed to architecture. So try out some side hustles, get more in depth in the industry. Maybe you can take some online courses, certifications that might help. And if you like it better than architecture, then go fitness.
Go fitness.
Go fitness! Okay. So, question number 3 from this guy named Dennis. This one's a bit long, but again, appreciate the context here. And even then, it's still not enough context, I think. So he's asking me, why am I losing fat slowly? He's a endomorph, 24 years old, but he wants to be lean at 70 kg. So he said he started his cut last November at 89 kg. So he's so when he started 89 kg, 2,500 calories, 20 minutes of cardio every day. And after 3 months, he lost 4 kilos, moving his calories down to 1.8, having 20 to 30 minutes of cardio every day. Felt good, but didn't see the same results as he expected. So after the end of month 7, he was around 82 to 79 kg. So he was already on 1,800 calories, doing 45 minutes to 1.5 hours of cardio. Alright, so that might be a lot, but Vaughn, are you gonna put this in the text?
Yeah.
Medyo madami, dude.
Yeah,
Okay, basically, again, he started last November at 89 kg, lost 4 kg in 3 months, lost a total of around 9 kg in 7 months, and he's been doing like 45 to 1.5 hours of cardio at the end. Cools? So he's frustrated, so he went back to eating normally after the 7th month. So he's now back up to around 80 to 83 kg, back to 2,000 to 1.8 calories, which is about 200 calories up. It's not a lot. 10 to 15 minutes of cardio, but he feels good and he's motivated. He's asking me if I have any tips or should he lower his calories. You want to join in this conversation, Mr. Fellow Fat Boy?
All right.
All right. So I think we're both fat boys here. We kind of it takes a while for us to lose, and it's kind of fast. We gain weight. But to this homie named Dennis, I think the first thing I just want to clear things up before we get into the actual question here. When we're talking about endomorphs or somatotypes, I think at this point it's a little bit outdated. There have been a lot of conversations about it. Medyo it's you're not really an endomorph or you're not really an ectomorph. You're just kind of I mean, it's hard to say. Maybe you're just you're just chilling all day. I'm not gonna call you lazy, but some people are wired that way that when they just eat, they'll just move around more. Some people like us.
Siguro naging
Ano?
endomorph siya sa lifetime.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think for most people, when they say endomorph, it's just because they're starting out fat
Yeah.
or like starting out at a higher body weight.
Higher
I'm not
body
trying
fat.
to, I'm not trying to fat shame here, but
Ayan.
let's be real. Ako rin, siya rin. I'm sure we all consider ourselves like an endomorph in the past, but now not so much. Okay, so what's your opinion on this? What should he do?
Siguro ako kasi feel ko if wala ka namang pag-preparean like an event or show right now, siguro do what you can or stay at a level na you can train at a parang great or higher level para you can build more muscle. Kasi no point of dieting if wala ka naman gagawin, di ba? Like if walang trip or show or whatsoever. So that's my opinion.
Man. I agree with that big time. I don't see the purpose of cutting. I mean, I understand. You wanted to be lean. You wanted to lose 19 kilos. That's a lot, dude. That's
years.
40 plus. I mean, 44, 43 pounds. Dude, that's a lot, man. And honestly, you should, for one, be happy at the fact that you've already lost around 9 kilos. That's a big amount of progress already. Okay. Second, yeah, like what Vaughn said, I don't think there's much of a point here in terms of cutting. You're probably better off at this point. Of course, medyo kulang pa sa context. I'd like to know
better if my pictures.
Like if my pictures, I'd like to know if you're actually training well. How like your training age. Well, your height. I guess that helps too. So yeah, just focus more on training and focus on using or increasing food for you, like for your performance, for your training, for your energy levels. Because it looks like 2,000 to 1,800 calories for 80 to 83 kg. I think that's not a lot, no?
Baba pa siya.
What's your weight?
Hindi ko alam sa kg, medyo bobo.
Yeah, I can't math that.
170 ako earlier today. So,
is that the same?
I don't know. Which ka?
I think it's the same, dude. We're just talking about putting out informative content. I can't even do math.
170 pounds in kg. 77.
77, dude.
So, medyo
yeah, it's kind of low, man. He's lower than you. Yeah, focus on building up your muscle. Focus on lifting more and increasing your calories.
Siguro to add,
Yeah,
kasi yun yung feel ko mali ko before. Parang masyado nag-focus sa calories talaga. Na di ko nasisilip yung training performance. So parang dapat pala pag into bodybuilding ka, parang yung mindset mo talaga is dapat athlete ka. So lahat ng ginagawa mo towards sa training, hindi siya, well, yun lang yung natutunan ko sa atin, like sa buong
there's a lot of value in performance, no?
So ayun, feel ko no point in cutting kung hindi ka naman makaka-perform ng maayos sa gym.
And yeah, if you feel burnt out, if you felt like shit during your cut doing like 45 to an hour of cardio, it looks like you've been doing higher intensity cardio here. It might help to just get some steps in, no? Like throughout the day, I think that was like one of us, like I mean for both of us as former fat boys, steps have been a big help. You know, you can, instead of going out for like an hour to run, alam mo yun, like, di ba, pagod ka na after, mas prefer ko na rin yung mix steps ka, like, let's say, like 30 minutes every couple of hours.
Better siya for me kasi parang na-try ko na rin lahat no? Mag-basketball, mag-steps.
Yeah, we did everything. Kulang na lang, hindi lang natin sinagad, hindi tayo nag-high intensity intervals.
Well, pero for me kasi napansin ko, well, kahit nung hindi pa ako nagpapakot sa kanya, nagka-cardio ako. Then after ko mag-cardio, kahit sobrang intense, nagsa-slack off na ako sa ibang non-exercise activities ko. So parang lang din siya, parang na-offset lang din yung cardio.
Actually, yeah, even more so, as my as my cardio modality gets more intense, so I used to run a lot back in like 2016, 2017. I noticed that if I was running for too long or too fast, one, my training suffered a lot. Two, I would just be asleep. Well, not asleep, but I'd be in bed the rest of the day,
Same.
Versus steps where you can actually force yourself to walk every few hours. Like there's no problem, you're just walking. Don't be a pussy, man. Just
Yeah.
steps, diba?
Yeah. And di ka may injured dun.
Dude, yeah, you're not gonna get injured. How tiring can
Unless
it be?
masagasaan ka, sobrang bobo mo tumawid.
Please don't, dude! Please! Cross wisely. Nasa Philippines pa naman tayo, man.
Yeah.
Huwag ka lang tumawid ng EDSA.
Alright. Siguro,
I think that's it. Basically, just don't diet if you don't need to. Focus on your performance, focus on building muscle, focus on building up your calories, and eventually, maybe like 6 months, maybe a year from now, try again.
alright. Feel ko hindi na kailangan yung fatboy opinion ko dito.
Sige, sige.
I'm a bounce. See you later.
Peace out. Von Campus Pogi. Okay. So this is the fourth question here from Ralph. So he's asking, is this the fourth or the fifth? Shit. Yeah, it's the fourth. Is it clean bulking when I track my food and calories, eating whole foods, but sometimes I go over my calorie intake of 3,200 and I just prioritize my protein intake in my macros in a day? Well, I'm not sure. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know what clean bulking and dirty bulking is. Maybe you could call it aggressive bulking and normal bulking. But in terms of clean bulking, I think what you want from a clean bulk is to just be in a surplus, but not too high up. So again, probably not enough context here because I don't know what your maintenance calories are. But I would say if you're gaining around like 0.25 to 0.5% of your weight per week, that could still be considered clean bulking. I think if you're gonna call something dirty bulking, that would be when you're gaining about like a pound or 2 pounds a week consistently. That has to be a lot of food. I would definitely consider that a dirty bulk. So if you're not gaining too much, if you're gaining, again, I'm just pulling these numbers off the top of my head, I'm not very sure, but somewhere around 0.2 to 0.5 might even be too high as a rate of gain if you're clean bulking. So maybe around 0.1 to 0.4% of your body weight, then you're still probably clean bulking. I think that's it. Do you have a follow-up to that?
Okay na yun.
Yeah. That's that. There's not much I can say.
Just don't eat too aggressively.
Yeah, I would say don't be too aggressive with your calorie increases.
I feel ko may isa pa siyang question dun sa parang di niya na napapansin yung calories niya, just the protein. What's your opinion?
Oh yeah. If is it clean bulking? Blah blah blah. If I just prioritize my protein intake in my macros in a day, I guess it could be. Again, this would most likely be more dependent on the calorie intake overall. If you're having a conservative surplus or a more aggressive surplus. But if you're staying somewhat conservative, prioritizing your protein intake, I think there can be a little bit of flexibility with your carbs and fat. Although on personal preference, I would prefer higher carbs, lower fat, just because it's probably better for your performance. It could be better for your performance, but again, that depends on the person. Yeah.
Performance and mood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably more enjoyable to eat more fat. But
tama ka, depends on the person.
Yeah, but yeah, there's probably a bit larger tendency to
overeat some fat.
Yeah, to overeat the fat. So let's stick at least stick to the high protein and then medyo leaning towards more carbs, slightly less fat, and you should be good. All right. Boom. Number 5, dude. Last question. So this is from Alfonso. The question is, when you're cutting, how much weight should you lose per week if the goal is to preserve muscle? Another rate of something question. Similarly, when bulking, how much weight should you gain to know that you're gaining 70% muscle and 30% fat?
What?
Where
Can you tell?
Oh, nga, parang where did that number come from, man? I don't know. And how to compute for maintenance calories in relation to this? How do I determine my activity factor? Should I factor in number of times I work out in a week or just my daily activities? Okay, I'll give you my honest first impression of the question. I think you're overthinking things here. Like a lot. For one, you, at least in the Philippines, I don't think we have a way to track how much exactly, like how much muscle or how much fat you gain or lose. We just don't have that much equipment, or at the very least, sobrang mahal. So just give up on getting 70% muscle and 30% fat.
And
that exact ratio.
parang sa natural context yan. Syempre.
Yeah. Most likely this is in the natural context. I do think this guy is like probably starting out, parang. Yeah, definitely starting out because at this point he still doesn't know how to compute for his maintenance calories. So back to the question of how to compute for maintenance calories. In relation to this, how do I determine my activity factor? Should I factor in the number of times I work out in a week or just my daily activities? Again, there are a lot of calculators out there to determine your maintenance. I'm not sure what the exact multipliers are, so I can't give you an activity factor there. But I would consider myself, if I were working a desk job, I would consider myself mostly sedentary. Just because if you're resistance training, maybe like an hour, 2 hours a day for maybe like 4 to 5 times a week, that's not a lot. I think in most cases it's about like 200 to 300 calories burned from resistance training. Haven't really checked recently, but somewhere there. So it's not a lot. Would just consider yourself average to be safe. But I think the best way to find your maintenance calories is to actually just get like whatever macros you can find on, well, you can start with those calculators just to get a ballpark figure. But once you get those macros, try it out for a week, try it out for maybe 2 weeks. If you gained weight, then those calories were putting you in a surplus, all right? If you were losing weight, you were in a deficit. If you stayed roughly the same, then that would have been your maintenance, all right? So that's the best way to find out your maintenance calories, is to track religiously for maybe a week or 2 and track your body weight, okay? Track that change. And again, if you see it move, then you're probably not in maintenance. So just adding to the first few parts of the question. So when you're cutting, how much weight should you lose if you're trying to preserve muscle? I would say you can always start a bit more aggressively. I think if you have more body fat to begin with, you're less likely to lose muscle. So maybe you could be starting off around 1.5 to 2, maybe even 3% weight lost per week. That should be safe for the first few weeks, but in general, over an extended period of time, if you just want the safest answer, it would be around 1% of body weight per week. If you want to go a bit lower, around 0.5%, that will definitely keep you safer from muscle loss, okay? So 0.5 to 1% weight loss per week on average. Okay. And now if we're going to talk about bulking, so again, we will never know how much muscle or fat you actually gain. But for bulking, as we've mentioned in the previous question, for rate of gain, I think that should have been around 0.2 to 0.4. Too bad if I said a different number a while ago, but yeah, around 0.2 to 0.4% of your body weight per week. This is assuming you're lifting really well, like you're really training to train. You're really training for hypertrophy or training for strength, but as long as you're religiously training, you're not just going to the gym to
TikTok.
the TikTok, the exercise, there are some people that just come into the gym to walk. If you're one of those, I wouldn't recommend trying to gain 0.2 to 0.4%. In fact, I think your training quality might be an even bigger determinant here in terms of how much of the weight gained would be muscle. Okay? So again, 0.2 to 0.5% will be safe. All right. Do you have any follow-up questions to that? That is the last one.
Siguro sa cutting lang. Depends din sa if may experience na siya sa pagka-cut.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If parang experienced, if nakapag-cut na siya before, he pwedeng more aggressive cut like what you did recently, di ba?
Yeah, that's true. Well, it could actually go the other way too. I think for newer guys that want to cut, it's hard to tell them to lose 1% of their body weight or like 0.5% of their body weight just because it's kind of hard to track.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. Sometimes they'll mess up. Like, I
Ano
mean,
gagawin nila pag di nila alam gagawin? Hire you as a coach.
Yeah. Hire a coach, man. That kind of helps.
Hire Grant thing.
Yeah, or no. I'm not gonna plug my coaching service here, but just in case you need a coach, you can always hit me up on Instagram or email me at grantgregorytang@gmail.com.
Okay.
Boom! Negosyante counter +1. Okay.
You'll try negosyate.
Shit, I got lost then. What's the ano?
Well,
Yeah. So again, it's a bit harder for new guys to find 0.5% to 1%. So sometimes if you just shoot for like, let's say 2 to 3% body weight loss, that kind of helps in terms of reaching your goals faster. It also helps, so just in case you mess up, like, okay, it's kind of common for the new guys to, go too hard on the weekends. You just, have a cheat day. So just to sort of, I wouldn't say cancel out the cheat day, but to help you manage, you can always aim for a more aggressive deficit throughout the rest of the week. All right, so yeah, that wraps up the Q&A. Again, thank you for watching the Quadcast. So before we go, if you like this video, if you actually went through the whole thing, man, if you went through the whole thing and you're still not subscribed, well, fuck you. Yeah, so please do, man. If you like the video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. You can find me on Instagram. That's @_GregLifts. You can also subscribe to this guy over here. See Von Campos Pogi. He'll just link his YouTube somewhere below. In the video or in the description box?
Both.
In both. So he's just gonna plug himself shamelessly wherever. So that's Vaughn's, mine. And don't forget, we'll be leaving the link to the Q&A questionnaire thing in the description below. You can always find it in my Instagram bio as well. So again, @_GregLifts. All right, peace, dudes.